Executive Order and DHS Directive 51.
Whoever you are, we're under an all-out assault. I'm not sure how much help you... screw it. We'll take anything you can give us. How are you on my comms?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another magical game, magical playthrough, thing. And we're playing the Division Beta. Now, this video is a little bit different because
to local GTF radio channels.
Quiet, Isaac. This was the... Basically, I was playing the Division Open Beta on my PS4, and I was just playing it and ended up recording a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm actually doing this dialogue afterwards. What you're watching is me doing my first sort of opening mission, basically. Doing my first kind of attempt at stuff. So what you're going to watch here is not me playing, like, elite Division tactics and stuff. But I really enjoyed myself playing the Division Open Beta. It was so amazing that they just went, yeah, you know what, you guys can just play the game for free for a while. And we got to mess around on it. And I really love the atmosphere in the game, and I like the way it plays. And I know there's a lot of criticism for it because it doesn't look like the videos promised when it was building up to release previously, and it doesn't look as good as it could or should have been, considering what they were telling us it was going to look like. But I had fun. I enjoyed myself. As a single-player experience, it was just good fun and a good atmosphere and good sort of areas to run through. A little bit repetitive, but I didn't mind that. I enjoyed that there was a bit of grinding in it and things. It kind of, to me, it was more balanced and more enjoyable as a single-player experience with a better narrative than something like Destiny, which, although very similar, I just think they just missed the mark on Destiny. But the multiplayer is where Division's really gonna sort of take off, and not just PvP, but also cooperative PvE. So what you're seeing here is after entering the city, retaking like a home base and stuff. So you there's a lot of improving your base and where you're gonna set up shop in sort of the last bastion of emergency services or any sense of order in the city, as the infection that's killing off people in droves has meant that there's been a collapse in sort of order, basically. So yeah, when the cutscenes happen and stuff, I'm gonna kind of let it roll so you guys get a sense of the story and things, and yeah, just gonna show you a little bit of gameplay as to what we'll see, and I'll explain what I'm doing as we get into it. So as you can see, obviously third person. I love the UI for the whole game is all augmented reality. So things like the little pop-up to the side of your ammo counters and things is all UI. So there's augmented reality UI.
Ventilation and purification systems online. Contamination levels lowered.
The voice you can hear of the little AI controller actually comes out of the controller.
Agent, we need our base up and running, and we need to show the people of New York they're getting their city back. Our base of operations has potential, but right now it's a piece of shit and we've got no one to staff it. To get this place where it needs to be, we need people who know what they're doing. Like doctors. There's a virologist running a field hospital over at Madison Square Garden, but the whole area's gone to shit. With her, we can get our medical facilities online. Without her... The JTF commander, Benitez, is out in the field and he's gone offline. Bring him back. We need him to set up a functional security wing, and it'll do a hell of a lot for morale. We've also got to restore basic services. We need power and the intel the grid can give us. They had a guy working on that, but it sounds like he ran into trouble patching us in. Without him, it's lights out. Isaac can map itself to each of the wings in the base and sync their progress, so we can have a bigger picture of what's happening here. And the more stable this base is, the better shape the city will be in.
So this is your kind of base where you can set up shop and you can improve it by getting resources when you're out and about.
The security wing needs some love, and Captain Benitez. The JTF love the guy. He can mobilize them and help us get the intel and firepower we need to get all these hostiles off the streets.
So the idea is the further you progress through this game, the more areas around here that you'll upgrade and basically create a decent aid station rather than the frankly abandoned stations which you're left with entering the city after so much has happened.
You might want to check out the police academy.
So it feels kind of like you're mopping up after everything's hit the fan. Like, you apparently are the only person capable of actually dealing with stuff at a trained level, and when everybody else is just kind of floundering and panicking, giving up, and it's just like, well, no, we're a little bit more detached. We're kind of unflappable, and some people were criticizing the way that you
Can I do something for you?
deal with things mainly with your weapons,
What do you want to see?
because things like you'll end up finding hostile looters that'll open fire on
Maybe
you,
next time.
and rather than arresting them or anything like that, you just
Medical wing
gun
is
them
a wreck
down.
right now. Once we get that virologist over here, we can build up a staff, investigate the origin of the virus, and start getting more supplies. For civilians, but for us as well.
But at this stage, kind of, the entire city of New York has basically gone to hell in a handbasket. The time has kind of come and gone for drastic measures. So now it's a sort of, there are essentially it's zero tolerance. Martial law has been declared and then not been able to be followed through because too many people have died. So there is no law and order. So if somebody draws a gun on you, you have to kill them or they're going to kill you. So yeah, there's no arresting, and yeah, you are killing people, which some people have had a bit of a problem with and go, oh, well, surely they're just looking for like items to survive and things. It's like, well, they should be contributing to the solution, not the problem. It's kind of the element to it. And in this stage, you just need peace. You need like law. You need to show people that that kind of behavior is not going to be tolerated. So yeah, it's going to be kind of harsh, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussions about the Division and whether it dumbs down gunplay and causes some controversy. But I'm kind of interested to see where that goes anyway.
Been a horrible death. Sure, they have more support than you do now, but so what? Fate's random and heartless. Nothing you can do about that.
So you've got your three sections, the three wings, sort of tech, medical, and security. Security would be your sort of armed guys on the street and things trying to mop up the city. Medical will be trying to investigate the infection, where it came from, how to fight it, how to cure it, that kind of stuff. And the tech element is sort of things like getting communications back up online, getting energy back up online, power, clean water, that kind of stuff. So it's quite cool the way they set this up.
Obviously seen better days.
It feels like they've done.
Get Rhodes back here. He's apparently got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
It feels like they've done a lot of research
More than you think he does.
into
I
what
suspect he'll be very useful.
a decent aid station and a decent sort of situation area needs. It sounds like they've probably gone to proper disaster areas and gone, right, well, how have they set this up? How can we put this in our game? And done proper research on it. Because my background is I studied for a year at Coventry University, International Disaster Engineering and Management. I know, that's the weirdest degree ever, but it was really cool as well. But the whole element of that degree is there's a lot of parallels between what I did at university to what happens in this game. So in terms of having different cordons and different levels of aid, support, and actions to do in different areas. Now this is quite cool. This is your menu system, your UI, and just like in a lot of RPG games at the moment, you're getting different weapons, and you can modify them with different sort of attachments, and you can get 5 versions of the same gun and more that have different attack powers, and it works off DPS rather than just straight damage per shot or anything like that. It's damage per second. So DPS can be very high and low depending on what kind of weapons you have. So if you've got a rifle that fires slowly, it's going to do less DPS, but it might have a very high damage, like some kind of sniper rifle. So DPS isn't everything, but it's certainly part of trying to figure out which weapons are the best to carry around. And I'll put up another video in a few moments that'll show what kind of weapons I ended up going for. later on, because the M4 and the MP5 are just your starting weapons for the beta. I don't know what it's going to be like when you start the game proper. I have pre-ordered the game, by the way, just because I enjoyed playing the beta so much. I had so much fun. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in.
Bad news. I'm not gonna be able to get out there. Not with my goddamn leg like this. I'll do what I can from here, but it's not the same. You have no idea how much I wanted to be in the field. I trained for a scenario like this my entire life. But it's worse than anything we could have imagined. You know how they won't let you get too close to anyone, so it won't mess you up when you're finally activated? Well, I did that, and it didn't fucking work. I'm attached. These are my people. This is my city. We're taking it back. Oh.
Look, you need to...
Yeah, okay. Okay. They're counting on us. Let's not let them down.
So yeah, you've got... She's a division agent, and so she's essentially your sort of eyes and ears on computers and stuff, like she can't get out in the field, and she feeds you missions and stuff like that. But you can see up in the top left, all these missions are kind of popping up.
Listen up. I spent 6 years in medical school. I don't give a shit what you saw on TV while you were jerking off to soap operas in your mom's basement, but setting a bone isn't pretty. You want your buddy fixed? You get your gun out of my face.
Is that a threat, bitch?
I'm just telling you the truth.
We've got a rioter takeover at Madison Square Garden. The JTF and Sarah were using the site as a field hospital, but armed hostiles swarmed in. Now they've got the med staff as hostages. We need them, especially Jessica Candle, the virologist who is running the place. Find her, send her to the base, and clean up what's left.
So yeah, you get a lot of things like audio taps, phone conversations. You find different scans around the city. I'll show you more of that in another video, but that gives you an idea of the kind of way you play through missions, finish missions, and then this will be the start of another mission. This hospital mission I did later on with my brother, so I'll show you some co-op stuff about that later. Okay, so this is a little bit later on. Now, I've got some better weapons by this point in the beta, and I'm off doing just some little side missions and just exploring around, really. You'll see on my back, I've got this big sort of, well, it's changed now, but I've got a large, essentially light machine gun. It's a big old beastie. It's the kind of thing you'd normally put in a bipod, but my character just happens to run around with it, running and gunning. It's kind of crazy, the size of the gun. So I kind of loved it because it basically gave me the ability to heavily suppress enemies by opening fire. The other weapon I've got is this M1A, which is essentially just an automatic rifle. It's high damage and a lot of accuracy, and I kind of liked having both, essentially the best of both worlds. I've got a machine gun that can lay down a lot of bullets downrange and keep people's heads down, and also I could rather than aiming, I could just pull the trigger and spray an area, which kind of gave me a lot of up close clout. But then I've got this rifle, which allows me to do some sniper shots, some long range stuff. And as I was playing a lot of single player and kind of messing around by myself, it kind of meant I was versatile. I've also got, I think by this point, I've got a Colt 45, which I got that one because it just had the highest stopping power, it had the highest damage, and I started putting better magazines in it, so I had more rounds to fire with the pistol when I needed it. And obviously you can see I've got things like cosmetically, you can get a lot of clothing, and armor-wise you can get a lot better gear. So I've got better gear and I've got better clothing. I've got more inventory slots, I think, by this point as well. And I've got abilities, because another cool thing about it, to adding to this sort of RPG element to it, is you can develop abilities for your character. You can only equip 2 at a time. But so I've got a quick heal, which means I wasn't completely dependent on medkits. And I've also got some sticky bombs. So if we get into some more hefty combat in a bit, you'll probably see me using those and messing around. Because by this point, it's still early days in the beta, and I'm just kind of messing around. I actually did a lot of this recording whilst I was really sort of, I'd come down with a really bad cold, or a sort of really strong cold. So what you might notice well, essentially if I'd done the dialogue over the top at the time, it all sounded like this, and that would have been pretty horrible. So it was nice to just mess around. Now what you're seeing here is an interesting thing. You can see that little orange dot on the map. That's actually another friend of mine online, but because we're in separate instances, I can't join up with him. So I'm just spending a little bit of time here just seeing where he is on the map and seeing if I can see him. I wondered whether he was either underneath me or up on rooftops or something like that. So I just had a bit of a mooch around. But you can see like the atmosphere they've done here in terms of seeing New York abandoned. The detail is amazing. It's just outstanding. Just things like little bits of discarded trash and bits of rooftops. Oh, you can see up at the top there, phone recording discovered. Phone recordings are really cool. They sort of give you little bits of the story of how New York fell to the infection. And you'll find things like phone recordings and text messages. You'll also find things like what are called echoes, which show you a projection of sort of a snapshot in time of what happened as it was breaking down. So you'll see things like quarantine stations and inoculation stations where people are questioning why they're giving out antibiotics or whatever. And you'll also see people sort of talking about the lack of order and, you know, how stuff's broken down as sort of essentially the point of collapse fastly keeps rising towards them, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I just love the atmosphere here. So yeah, there you go. There's essentially an abandoned phone with the message "on fleek," which is one of my most hated millennial terms. On fleek, ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, it's just all atmosphere and stuff. So yeah, the waypoint system's pretty cool. I like the controls. Some people found it clunky. Or slow, but I didn't. I enjoyed it. I guess I played a lot of Gears of War, and a lot of the control mechanisms remind me very much of Gears of War, only it's quicker, lighter, snappier. So if you enjoyed the cover-based kind of shooting aspect of Gears of War, you'll probably enjoy this in terms of a gameplay mechanic. And storyline-wise, I'm just intrigued. I want to know more. The one thing the beta did very well was giving me enough to get hooked. It was a very effective pusher in terms of going, oh, okay, you like that bit, huh? Well, what else do you like? And just sort of left me going, I want more. I want to know what happened. I want to find the source of the infection. I want to take back New York. So, yeah, it was effective for sure in that. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of DLC and things like that. I think it'll be quite a well-supported game. It seems like a strong IP that could definitely go somewhere. I hope. Proof's going to be in the pudding. Proof's going to be in actually playing the game. So I'll do some more videos once I got the full game, and I'll record some stuff. I'm going to play it through with my brother, who you'll see in some of my later videos where we did a whole bunch of co-op over the beta weekend as well. So you'll see some of that in another video further down the line. Anyway, at this stage I'm just walking around. Come on, get on with it. I'm heading towards that encounter on the map, if I can just avoid pissing around trying to contact my friend. So here we go. This is where you start seeing more of this atmosphere and storyline. You can see carrion birds around this area, and it's a restricted area covered in this yellow tarp. And you're just going to see there are like so much sort of hazardous waste. The Dead Will Rise makes me wonder if there's something to do with zombies, but we've not seen anything to do with zombies in this, which is kind of nice that they're avoiding that. It's just a horrible virus, and they've not fallen into that zombies trap. Although it wouldn't surprise me if they end up with some kind of zombie mode to it. It seems like it would work quite well. Just zombies seems like such an overused trope by this point. It would. I don't want to say I would be disappointed, because I wouldn't. I'd really enjoy it. I think it would be a really good third-person zombie survival game, but it kind of seems redundant when there are so many zombie games like Left 4 Dead or Dead Rising and so on and so forth. Another thing they do is you'll see at the top there, it says required filter 01 contaminated zone. These contaminated zones are worse across the city. You can see off to the right there, the AI is just like analyzing stuff and showing that there's contaminant. And it makes me think there are probably going to be areas which are going to be too far contaminated for me to investigate, and that I'll run the risk of infection if we go into worse areas. So that's kind of going to be interesting. So here we go. We're going to go into this area here. So yeah, you see the character automatically puts on his
contaminated
mask.
supplies detected.
So again, this is like the first time I've done some of these side missions, so I'm going to cock this up a little bit. There's an abandoned phone. So getting more of those phone recordings, as I said. And there's these scanners here. These viral scanners.
Alert. Contamination scan initiated.
So, I'm on a countdown timer. I've got to activate the other virus scanner. And I was looking around for it. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I completely miss it. Yeah. Yeah, just going to walk right by it. But, you know, you live and learn. I played this again later on co-op and just stormed through it. Co-op really strengthens this game so much. I enjoyed the game anyway, but with the co-op, it just made it so much fun. You just end up covering each other and, you know, setting up crossfire for enemies and that kind of thing. Playing like online in the PvP areas got stressful. It's the only way I can put it. I'm not sure if there ends up being a huge community for it. Unless they do some serious balancing, I can see the Dark Zone, the PvP areas, being horrible in the full game. So hopefully they'll do some decent balancing and matchmaking, and it won't be as bad as the open beta actually got at points. Especially towards the end, there were people just taking advantage of each other, and it was pretty grim. So hopefully it'll be balanced a little bit better.
I'll be alive a little while longer.
At a later stage. But there was lots of things in the beta that were missing. You've got things like the character creation part wasn't really there. So it'll be interesting to see how in-depth the character creator really is. You also had things like a lot of the passive abilities and skill trees weren't open, so you couldn't see where it went to in future. And yeah, there was just a lot of stuff which you couldn't access, which, you know, rightfully so. That wasn't what the demo was about.
You're now
I think
entering
they were
the contaminated area.
They were just looking at gameplay and saying, is this fun to play? Do people enjoy it? What's the issue if there are issues? And it looks like they've spent a lot of time paying attention to the I see, I finally found it. It was right there.
Alert. Contamination scan
They
initiated.
paid a lot of attention to what people have said about it, and hopefully, again, like I say, they'll tweak with the matchmaking and with the gameplay and sort of improve it a little bit. And I think they'll listen to the fact that people were a tad disappointed about the actual. I don't want to say graphical quality, because it looks great as a game, but it just didn't look like it said it was going to when you look at things like the trailers of it before. So we'll see how it goes. So time ran out on that objective, so essentially it just let me start it again, because all it wants me to do is to start both of these scanners and then upload the data. So I didn't get there in time, so it just wants me to start the scanners again. It's nice that these little objectives have sort of time limits and things, and I'm sorry if you're watching me do this and just, you know, getting so frustrated at me that you want to rip your dick off and just shout at me for not doing it properly, but, yeah, give me a break. It's like the first time I've played it. And you can also see on the minimap up there, they've got the you'll end up with cones of
Alert.
red.
Contamination scan initiated.
And the cones of red are letting me know where threats are. Because up here, there are some
Alert.
enemies.
Contamination scan initiated.
So yeah, this time, much better. But yeah, if you guys played the Division Open Beta as well, drop a message down below. Let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy it? Did you play it all? Did you get really far through it? Or did you just go PvP and, you know, kill people? Or did you just get killed a lot? Especially with the PvP, I'm interested in to see what people thought about it and whether they enjoyed it. I hear the cleaners, these guys are just flamethrowing everything to try and make sure everybody had a bad day. This is my heavy machine gun, having a lot of fun with that. Yeah, done. Done and done. When I got up here, actually, I was expecting there to be many more enemies than there actually were. Later on, I also ended up basically equipping all of my weapons with silencers, just to kind of make sneaking a little bit easier. Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys, for watching me play a bit of the Division Open Beta. I'm going to put up a few more videos of this just so you guys, if you didn't get a chance to play it yourselves, you'll be able to see what it was like and see what the game is like, get some good graphical quality out of it. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you guys again soon. Check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to see more kind of stuff. And yeah, Hexit videos still going up on the beginning of the week. I'm kind of trying to make it Tuesdays, but I've got so many projects on the go at the moment and things with my band and things, so my uploads are a little bit slower than they have been. So I will see you guys again soon, and take care. Bye.